Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Self-Esteem Issues with me, Robyn. Today is episode 3, and before we get started, I just wanted to let you know my book counter came in, the tracker, and it's super cute. It's not as cool as the one my friend got with a dragon on it, but that's a story for another day. However, it is really cute, and I can put my name with chalk on it or whatever you want to write. I just wrote Robyn's books because it's mine and it's for my year. And it comes with super cute little plaques with numbers on them. Right now I only have a number 2, but as you know, I'm working on number 3. So that's been going good so far. Also, I kind of wanted to fill you guys in on a little something. So I've decided with this podcast that yes, it's about books. Yes, it's called Self-Esteem Issues for 2 ironic reasons. One, it's about books, and it's, a book club, and we want to talk about the books that we read, and we want to get books out that we haven't that we've had in our Kindle, or that we've taken out from the library, or in a list of wishes, or whatever. We want to get those books read. So yes, the book side is there, but also being a pun on, self-esteem issues, right? So I also kind of wanted to make this somewhat personal, and I just wanted to let you know that this podcast is raw, uncut. I record and I just send. There's no changing anything. If you hear my life in the background, like I have 3 dogs and a cat, I have a fiance and 2 children, you might hear barking, you might hear people talking, you might hear TV, music, anything in the background. Like, you're going to hear my life. I'm not going to cut it out. Some people may love it, some people may hate it, but I'm a regular person in a sense, we'll quote normal person. And I have a life that's consistently going, so I'm not in a studio recording this. I'm sitting on my couch with my iced coffee and one of the dogs chewing on a bone, the other one staring at me thinking I'm crazy with my headphones on, and the cat, I don't know what she's doing. Looks like she's chasing dust. Nobody's home right now, so it's quieter, but hey, if the mailman comes, you may hear Milo likes to bark at the mailman big time, so we'll see how this goes. Last week I did record from my bedroom with my nice cozy comforter, and the noise was a lot less. I do have noise canceling headphones on, and nobody was in the room with me because everybody was home and the dogs were out in the living room. But today I'm by myself. Hi, Milo. And we'll see how this goes. But I'm not going to edit this. I'm not going to change background. This is life, right? We all live like this. We're all busy, and this is the point of this being a podcast instead of me having a book club getting together once a month or whenever, because we are busy moms mostly, I'm sure, but just busy people in the world with our own activities and our own lives. So with that being said, we'll put that aside. Thank you for tuning in once again. Episode 3, we're going to dive into Written and Read. I sat and read about an hour a chapter, give or take, for the past 6 days. I did read 2 on Thursday because I was going out Friday, so tried to get ahead. But my goal was to read 1 chapter a day. So I figured that's a good goal. I can fit that in, right before bed or whatever the case may be. So I did make it through the 7 chapters. Written and Read so far has been quite an interesting read. I don't know if I mentioned this, but it did make a 4.2 out of 5 on Goodreads, so not terrible. It's starting off, it's very slow paced. I do like it that way, in a way though, because it's giving us the illusion, or not the illusion, what's the word I'm looking for? It's giving us the relationship building one by one, and just in a better, it's just not going quick. Like, we're watching these relationships build on a more simpler, slower, and you can kind of understand each character's role in a sense, and you can almost see where they're going to go, but at the same time, a lot of books have plot twists, right? So we all try to guess. That's the fun of books for me anyway. This book started with right out of the gate, lots of characters coming in. They open the book with letting us know the storyline a little bit. It revolves around Thasia, which is the world that they live in, and it's humanity versus the others. The others are portrayed in kind of a different way. They're set up as groupings. So the wolves are wolf guard, the crows are crow guard, the hawks hawk guard. There's a bear guard. So they're kind of their own little communities within a community. The humans are the inferior species, as so far as I can see. They're controlled by the others. They seem to be stuck, like they have their own, like the others have put them in their own part of the world. They have their own little sections, little cities that the others, they live in, and they control, but the humans can live there. And then they have these other cities that humans aren't allowed. There's even a joke in the book, apparently, that humans are called monkeys to the others, and the others are known as the Terra Indigene, aka the Earth Natives, so it kind of goes back to that kind of law. They speak of gods and goddesses as opposed to one god, because this is fantasy. And just to give you an idea of the few characters that jumped out in the beginning, there's some main characters: Meg Corbin, Simon Wolfgard, Asia Kane, Tess, Henry Beargard, and Monty. Those are a few big ones that popped out. My first impression was the writer, wanted to give us the dynamic of each character and their role, kind of right from the start, and then slowly introduce each story or background of each character, so we can have that. You can form how you want each character in your own opinion, but you have that backstory. You understand why they're here and what their place is within her story. I'm sorry, I'm drinking coffee. I mean, you can grab your wine, your tea, coffee, your blanket, whatever you're doing, but right now it's morning for me, and I'm drinking coffee, and I'm trying not to drink it and gulp it in your ear, but it unfortunately, it just got made like 20 minutes ago, so this is still pretty early morning for me today. But back to the book. It's been a good read. I have to agree with that 4.2 so far. It's a big thumbs up for me. Now let's talk about a little bit about the characters and why I'm interested, what's keeping me interested in continuing to read this book. Like I said, there's Meg Corbin. She's told as a prophet right from the beginning. They let us know that much. They don't let us know where she is or what's going on, but they let us know she's a prophet. And what happens is she escapes from this facility that's holding her and other girls of her humanity. She is a human, but she is a prophet, so she's not part of the others' world in that way. They're definitely creatures. They're definitely fantasy style creatures, like I said: wolves, hawks, crows, mostly shape shifting style creatures. They all have a human form, and then they all have their fantasy, their creature form. And she ends up escaping, and she ends up in this world, and it's in the courtyard, and it's no humans are allowed there, but there's a job available for a human liaison, and a human liaison is to go between the human world and the others world and be the person that helps sort mail out between, and she's a contact for humans for the others, because humans right now are afraid of the others. They don't want to approach them because most of the time the wolves are thinking about eating the humans. They call them prey. In the beginning of the story, we meet Simon Wolfgard, who he's the first contact with Megan, and he's upset because humans have a specific smell to them, like dogs would with rabbits, or anything that has it's a prey, right? Predator versus prey, and they sniff. That wolves have that mentality to sniff out their prey, and she doesn't smell like a normal human, and it's driving him crazy. It's driving him to the point where he's can't stop thinking about it, and he feels this need to protect her. Oh, yep. See, that was Link just pushing and about to bark. Sorry, guys. Like I said, raw, uncut. The world never ends. Mom to human children and mom to furry children. So, back to Simon and Meg. Their relationship starts off very rocky. She's a little afraid of him, but she's a quiet strength. She's a prophet, and the way that she has to get her visions is she has to cut her skin, and this is something that they developed in this place that she was in, and it's kind of a crazy, twisty world that she explains in the book. And again, I don't want this to be a full spoiler alert for people. I want you to listen to what I'm saying and tell me if this book sounds interesting. And again, you could be reading this 2 years after I post it, but you can always comment and we can always revisit things. But I love to do this live and have live chats, but this is my first time with a podcast, and I'm not even sure if I know what I'm doing at this point, right? Like, I'm trying to just gain an audience. I really just want to be able to enlighten you on books that you haven't read, and get you interested in books that maybe you didn't even know were out there. And I also would love people to tell me books I should read, and I will gladly read and put in the podcast and go through, and you can have your comments. And I would love to have some disagreements or agreements, just like you would in a book club setting. I mean, again, we're not all sitting in a room chatting or even sitting on Zoom chatting, but we're all sitting with our book, however cozy we are, with our drinks or whatever we do to read. However, you wind down. I like to wind down, again, at night, usually right before bed. I try to sit and read an hour, like I said, to get you kind of sleepy and to also force you to read, because it's bedtime, and if everybody's quiet, there's no noise. Hopefully all your animals are sleeping, but everybody's household is different. If you have animals, hopefully your children are sleeping if you have children, or at least, again, you have a quiet space. I mean, I joke around, I would love a she shed in my backyard. Like, I've seen some amazing ones on Instagram or Facebook where people have these sheds, and some of them have made them like their own personal libraries with these cozy chairs and candlelight. And I mean, I'd love a room like that or a place like that just to store all my book stuff, and that'd be a great place to sit and do a podcast. No one would bother you. But again, that's not where I am. But someday that might be a goal. My youngest is 12, and 6 years till she's an adult. Not saying I'm going to kick her out that day, but I'm just saying that my kids are growing up, and at some point, when she's 6, I'll be midway through my life plus a few years. And I'd like to have it where I can start working on more of what I would like, what I want to establish for myself, and while my kids are out there, getting their adult lives together, and something like that, a room, a shed, a house that suits retiring adults, or we'll call them empty nesters, right? Because I won't be anywhere near retiring age. I don't even know if this generation that I was born in will be able to retire. Not to put any damper on here, but I would hope that there's a retirement age and it's not 99. So I'd love to have that area of just comfort where I can sit and make a nice little doesn't have to be a she shed, but just a little reading nook or something in that way. It would be fun to have a space for that you just know, hey, it has all my pillows, it's my stuff, and I can just go sit and relax and read and enjoy and get away, But I digress, because I was talking about this book and I got jumped into a whole different world, right? My apologies. So back to Written and Read. Again, it's by Anne Bishop, in case you haven't heard the first 2 episodes. And the characters, again, mostly creatures versus humans. The power dynamic is so different in this book because again, it's still the someone, hunting someone in a sense, but to know that the others in this book kind of started the world and it's their world and we're just, looking through the glass as humans trying to stay alive, basically, because again, we're prey and it's gotta, I don't even know, because there was a couple of vampires that were brought into this as well. Like I said, there's a lot of birds for some reason. I don't know. She has the crows. They're kind of like the guardians. They can fly the skies and they can watch this complex that they live in and keep out. It's gated, and it seems like the wolves kind of run most of it. They Simon, like I mentioned, he's the main character. Him and Megan seem to be. I'm not sure yet if this is running into a romantic. Because he does care about her, but I don't know if it's a fatherly way or they're gonna be ending up, because he hates being in his human skin. He likes to be a wolf. He wants to run, and basically, she's kind of messing with his head and getting in his way. And the other characters, again, there's Henry, who's a bear, and he's kind of protective of her. There's a point in the story where, like I said, she ends up in this world when she runs away. Simon saves her from freezing to death, basically, and he takes her in, and he gives her this liaison job that this other woman, Asia Crane, has wanted. And we find out later on, Asia Crane is kind of a mole. She wants to be an actress, and supposedly this is, I guess this is her acting job is kind of a real life, almost like Hit by the Mob. They want into the courtyard. They want into this world that Simon has created, and they're using her. They're saying they'll sponsor her in her acting career. She can go in and act to get information, basically. So she wanted this job, and she finds out that Meg gets it, and she's a whirlwind of a mess. And as of right now, where I am in the story, it's her mission to friend Meg and see if she can get information from her. So Meg's job is now the liaison, which basically she spends a lot of her time in the mailroom sorting, and a lot of the book always kind of goes back to the mailroom. There's not a lot of areas that they're covering right now, but again, I'm only on chapter 7, and they were the main introduction chapters, so they seem to border around, obviously, she's building up the storyline, so the main characters are just the ones in play right now, with quite a few coming in that you're going to start seeing. I feel like some might become really relevant to the story, and others are just kind of there in the background to keep the meat of the story going, to keep you interested and keep it fun, and not just be a short story on around two characters there. So Meg, again, she's in the mailroom. She's sorting mail. She's meeting Jester, who also is very kind to her, and he helps her to understand the job, because Simon is he's very gruff. He's a wolf. He's definitely gruff, and he prefers being in that wolf form, and he prefers not speaking. He owns a bookstore, but his bookstore is mainly for the others. They open it to the humans here and there, but humans that venture into the courtyard, again, they have to be permitted, and they can shop at certain times of the day. And it's kind of funny, because if you think about it, it's almost like not just a human versus others. It's kind of like what we've seen in the world, where a minority type of style. And it's kind of interesting how she wrote this in, how the world once worked, along with using the characters being creature versus human, as opposed to humans versus humans. But you can feel like the realisticness of it in the world that we live in. I mean, you hope that in the century that we're in, we've come a long way, but you can tell, like, this time frame and how things were with the first human versus human. It's the same thing, except we weren't eating each other, correct? Like, we weren't eating each other. The wolves, again, they call humans, like I said, they call them monkeys. They call them clever meat. So it's just instead of us being, stupid animals, they call us clever because, we can think for ourselves and we can do for ourselves. And but they're still gonna hunt us if we mess up, or they want to dominate the world. And the humans, they only need them because the reason we're clever meat is because we're developing the world. We're developing the things that the creatures need to use in the world, the technology, just everything, the cars, whatever, you name it, it's coming from the humans. And that is the only reason that the others have allowed the humans to stay alive. So again, this book is pretty interesting. It's got now stuff, back in the day stuff. It's written very well. I really am enjoying it so far. It took a little restraint to keep myself to that 1 hour and staying with one chapter a couple of times, but I really wanted to enlighten you guys and be able to only piece this together here and there and give you the opportunity that if you're listening and you want to go out and get the book, that you have a chance to read it along with me or faster than me or whatever, and see if it's worth it. Because again, this is a 5-book series, and I intend on reading myself all 5 books. And then from there, I'd love to go from what you guys have suggested, or what's in your wish list. What have you been like, I need to get to? Because I will gladly take that recommendation and read it, and we can discuss it just like I said, just like we would in person. Except this is a way for us with our busy schedules to listen to the podcast when you can and join in when you can, and just build our own book club virtually, realistically, but we can still interact. If I could do a live one, I would, but right now, I'm just doing this. I can't even do video right now because you do not want to see me in the morning. I'm not ready. I'm not camera ready, and my house with dogs and everybody, they're not camera ready either. So we're not doing that. Maybe one time I'll do a clip or something, because I'm still learning this whole podcast thing. I'm still looking into how you make things better. This is like the beginner's, very novice program that I'm using. It's the free version as of right now, so we'll see what happens, because you know how everything starts off free, even apps do, right? And we'll go from there. But I will keep going. I will keep pushing as long as you guys keep liking, following, sharing, downloading. As long as you guys keep doing that, I will keep pushing through and keep trying to get this as a fun little podcast that everybody can just listen to on their way to work, or whatever, listen to while they're sitting at home. But let me give you a little bit more about the book before we get going, because the point of this was really to give you some more pointers. I touched on Meg. I touched on Simon. There's the vampires, Vlad. There's an elder vampire who doesn't allow anybody into their complex. So the courtyard is divided in complexes by species. So the hawks have their own side. The crows have their own. We'll call them like condos. They're kind of set up like that, or little villages. But no, I can't say villages. Because they all have a community of where they go to one bookstore, one market, one laundromat, one, things like that. So it's a community, but they have their own housing developments per species. Let's say it like that. So each complex has a name. Hawks are one, crows are one, and vampires, their complex nobody wants to go to. They're very afraid because of this old he's the main vampire. He's a mist as of right now. Like, people are only seeing black smoke, and supposedly humans go in, or even some of the others go in, and they don't come out. And he allows Meg in. So this character that they're building around Meg, she's something more than just this prophet. And the reason she's also in the courtyard is she saw a prophecy that led her to who she thinks is Simon. So when he found her, she knew that this was the place to hide. This was a place to be. We have Monty, who is a divorcee. There was a scandal around him. He's a cop, and he had to move from where he was. His wife basically said that he spoiled their world, their life, and ruined everything that they had. And they forced him out of his home. He has a daughter that the wife has, or ex-wife, we'll call her, but won't even let him see. So he's now wrapped into this courtyard world, and he has to go in and introduce himself as the new, the new guy on duty. And he also has this interest in Meg, and they find out later in the later chapters, probably I want to say it was like 6, maybe chapter 6 or so, that they find out that she's a runaway, she's a thief, and they're trying to take her from the courtyard. And the heads of each species gets together because they have their own collective of each head, and they get together and they realize that Meg is one of theirs now. They protect their own, and they're not going to let her go without a fight, whether it's with the humans or anybody else. And she ends up explaining to Simon the place she came from. She gets into it, how they held them basically just for these prophecies, all girls, that they were cutting perfect lines into their skin. She has a specific knife, and she said that it's a pocket knife that she stole and nothing more, but she's the prize. That's what's missing. That's what that they're saying, she's a thief. They're trying to control, and they're called the walking names, and I'm pretty sure they're human. They haven't touched on them too much, but I'm pretty sure they're humans using humans to get what they want. She's considered like a blood prophet because she needs to bleed to see these visions, and they're all connected in a different way. And you when you read, you start to get pulled into how and why. She has a friend that was in there, and I guess some of the girls go crazy. Like it's an interesting new take, but they have to cut themselves, and that's kind of a crazy way, because usually, any other book I've read, like a vision, it's a vision. It's through the brain, it's through the mind, it's some kind of magic or something like that. I've never heard of a blood prophet I've heard of them, but I've never read a story yet with one really that has to do. And she's not healing, she's just scars. It's not like she's cutting and it's going away. She's full of scars from this cutting, because again, she's basically human. And she tells Simon this, so he understands that she's not a thief, and she's just like a wild animal, just like they could potentially be. They could become wild animals, caged up if the humans get a hold of them. And he understands that she's more a lot like he is in that way. Again, he hates his human form, so he'll never admit it, but he understands, and this is why that the whole collective decides that they would like to save her and keep her as theirs. They're now saying she belongs to us. She's our liaison. She's not going anywhere, because all the other liaisons apparently were no good. They were scared, whatever the case may be. They couldn't keep one, and she's staying. She's ready. She wants to be here. She's hiding out, but she's also learning that she's building a family. This woman, Tess, who I feel like is kind of Medusa-like. They keep telling me her hair's changing and coiling up. It reminds me of snakes, but I still haven't figured out exactly what she is, but she's a big part. She owns the diner that feeds everybody, and even like the workers. And so Meg, being a worker, she'll feed her lunch and things like that. And it's cute. The diner's called A Little Bite, and I think that's really kind of a cute, because it's vampires and wolves and everything like that. And then the bookstore is called Howling Goodreads. So again, it's kind of a play on the others being creatures, and it's super cute in that way. And it's just been very interesting, that the whole courtyard, the way it's set up. I'm still trying to figure out the plot. I guess if I had to say what it was now, it's obviously Meg running away and Simon and the collective trying to keep her safe and there. And then I can't wait for the walking names to pop in, because I really want to know who these, we'll say, people are and what their motive is. And it's going to be interesting in the end, because it's kind of like human versus creature versus creature. Like, I don't know. It's too soon for me to figure out the plot. I mean, somebody else maybe is already like, I got it down. But for me, I just don't know yet. And that's what's keeping me like, I want to read. I want to keep going. I want to get back into this world. So if you're like me and you like what I've talked about, I know I've hit some little key points here and give you as much as I can without giving you too much. Again, I don't want to be a full spoiler. Like, I was joking about saying Cliff Notes, but I really don't want you to come on here and be upset. And if you want to read the book, know everything. But I gave you a decent amount to see if you'd be interested. There's no twist yet. There's just her trying to fit in and him trying to figure out why this girl is here. we find out very little bit about it, and now we're on to how are we going to save her and who are we fighting. And the police are involved, like I said, the human police, the guards, all the different creature guards are involved now. There's also a little area where we meet Winter, as in the season. She's a season, but she's skating, and apparently everybody's afraid of her in the courtyard, but she takes a liking to Meg. Meg just walks up to her, and she thinks she's a little girl because she's like maybe I think it was like a 12-year-old on ice skates, and she's out there just on the ice having a good old time, and that Meg just thinks she's a child. She doesn't realize she's the season of Winter. So I was enjoying the banter between those two, and how everybody was kind of like, how did Winter talk to her? Like, Winter can be brutal, which brings me to, we're in winter right now, right? And I have, I don't know, over a foot of snow on my lawn, and they keep telling us more snow is coming and we're freezing. So I agree, winter is pretty brutal. But this little girl, I guess, or Winter, she's probably thousands of years old, right, is taking a liking to Meg as well. So I am looking forward to watching more of relationships unfold. The Asia Crane, her trying to infiltrate, and she's just making it look like she wants to sleep with Simon, and that's what he feels like, but she's still trying to get information. I want to know who this bigwig that she works for, and there's still a lot of open-ended questions, but it's turning out to be very interesting, and I want to get more. I definitely want to read more and get more into it, and hopefully there's an ending, because again, 5 books, I don't know if they play off of each other. I don't know if this one ends and it's about another character. We will definitely see, but that's getting far ahead. So this week I'll read chapters 8. I'm going to try to get to 16. I'm going to try to do 8 chapters, because if I do only 7, then I'll have to read a few more towards the end. I'm trying to do an equal amount each week to talk about. So it'll be chapter 8 through chapter 16 for next week, and I'll get more into it. I'll try to get a little more in-depth each time, give you a little bit more, hoping that you guys are reading along with me, and you'll have some input on your own. And again, I'll never make it a full spoiler, but I'm going to keep getting into a little bit more involvement. But so far, I want to say we were introduced to about 15 characters, 5 main characters, which are the ones that I talked about today. And the crows are really cute. They keep calling her the Meg, and they keep saying shiny because they're crows, so anything shiny, and they say the shiny, the Meg, the this, and they're kind of a cute little character input. There's one main one. Her name is Julie, and she's very cute. And I'm enjoying Anne Bishop's Written and Read. I think it's well written. I think it's a great read so far. It's interesting, and I'm going to keep going. So next week, if you want to hear a little more about the book, or you want to talk more about snow, dogs, cats, whatever, join me here. But please, like, follow, share, download, keep this going so that I can keep going and we can keep hanging out once a week and having a good time. Every Sunday, I'll be posting on Sundays. It'll always be Sunday unless there's something really big going on. But as of right now, I don't see anything on Sundays that would keep me from at least getting this recording out. So join me again next Sunday. This episode is 3. It's diving in, raw and uncut. And it was covering chapters 1 through 7. Next week will be chapters 8 through 16. So I think that will be it for today. And again, follow, share, download, whatever you do. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Apple, any podcast platform you could think of. And if you try to download on a different one and you can't find it, let me know, and I'll see how to get onto that one as well. And so everybody, you have a great Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your day, and be magical. BB.